Oh, sorry.
Which is best?
We started the show.
Quality.
We started the show without you.
We found the power button, so we're just doing
Yeah,
stuff.
we're here.
I mean, we brought you out here for pretty much exactly this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We're chitting and we're chatting without guidance, though.
Yeah.
But, well, guidance is now here.
Welcome to the Predator
Hello.
show. Oh no, that hasn't started.
That
yet,
hasn't
sorry.
started yet.
Yeah,
We're
Predator
waiting
show's
on
not
Carey
started.
for that part.
What is this one? What are we doing?
So first is
I'm gonna sit over here.
Oh,
You gonna
sure.
sit over
Come on.
there?
What's up, buddy?
Come
I'm
on
gonna go to
over.
this
Sit
one.
wherever you want.
No, we need like the respectable.
Is that called
distance
upstaging? Did you upstage me just now? No, come back. Go. No.
No,
I need these.
I've never done anything like
I'm
that
sitting
in my
like
life.
this now. This is.
This is.
I've
So
had afternoon coffee, just so you know what's going on here.
So, hello there, Star Wars fans. This started out as the Skeleton Crew panel, but
Come
it's
on in,
evolved a
Russ.
little bit. Come on in, Russ.
As if, there wasn't enough height in the room.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever you would like, sir. Do we have a mic in that?
Oh, are you in
that seat
Skeleton
for
Crew
him?
also? Are you in Skeleton Crew also?
He is not.
Oh, yeah. This is the Skeleton Crew panel.
This is.
You're welcome to hang
Skeleton Crew is the first part. You're in the right place. Go ahead. So we're gonna start talking Skeleton Crew first, and that is with Mr. Marti and Dane here. So Marti Matulis plays the pirate Vane in the Mandalorian series, but we might have spotted a familiar face, if not the same face, in the Skeleton Crew trailer that was played at Celebration in London. And then Mr. Dane here also has a character in the series Skeleton Crew.
I honestly don't even know how that got out. It's out.
Allegedly you're in.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess allegedly. I don't even know who I'm playing, honestly. That's how NDA'd it is. They wouldn't let me look down at my own costume.
How do you
I'm
do
kidding,
that?
kidding.
Do you?
What's it?
They just
They
like
put
cover every
blinders-
mirror.
They put blinders under my eyes.
Walk
If
out,
I look
you know,
down,
Just-
yeah,
Those
would-
basketball dribbling blinders?
yeah, big lawsuit. Big lawsuit for me.
And then next, also we have Mr. Carey Jones, the legendary Wookiee Chrysanthemum from the Book of Boba
However you like.
Fett.
However you like.
Wherever you would like, sir.
You got a mic there.
That is fine too. So first things first, we're going to talk Skeleton Crew a little bit. Then we're going to.
I'm not, you don't smell anything.
No, he's.
It was me.
It has to go in order
It
of
was-
importance. Like, you're
It's fair.
It was me. I was the one who smelled a little bit.
Go ahead, Adderall.
Yeah. We're going to talk Skeleton Crew first. Then we're going to move in talk about Predators a little bit because we have the feral predator from Prey as well as the tracker predator from the film Predators. And then we're going to transition and talk about Wookiees a little bit as we have two very distinct Wookiees here. We have the Wookiee that was with Chewbacca on Kessel in Solo and Chrysanthemum. So starting off about Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Skeleton Crew?
Nothing.
Nothing. Thank you all for coming.
There we go.
yeah,
Next thing.
it for
So
We can say that as we've seen that there are kids involved
Yeah.
and there's a Jude Law involved. And if you're at Celebration or you delved into Twitter/X and you saw the teaser trailer, Vane's face does pop up. So we knew he flew away in The Mandalorian, the smart guy who got out.
Yeah.
And that he does show up somewhere in this same timeline world of Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Vane's smart. He knew there was going to be another show.
Only just smart enough to get over there.
He's like, Filoni's going to call me if I get away.
Right. Do not die. That's the key to
Yeah.
every success in Star
He's
Wars.
like, I want to
Just
do
don't
more
die.
cons. I want to do more cons. So I'm going to.
So we're actually going to start with questions for all of you. So, Marti, what is your Star Wars origin story? When did you fall in love with Star Wars as a fan?
I was right in the pocket for A New Hope at age 7, going to the movie theater and having my mind blown at the opening shot, like a lot of people. And then Bantha Tracks was the fanzine at the time that kept me alive, and through those long internet-free years of wondering what's coming next, and it just kind of it maintained itself throughout the years from there.
That's really cool. And Mr. Dane, what was your Star Wars moment? When did you
Okay.
fall in love with the saga?
So I had all the Star Wars movies on VHS, and I had all of the toys, and then on Super Nintendo I had the Star Wars game, like the platformer, and then you would get it was very difficult. It wasn't any good. But where I really got into it was on N64. They had a game called Shadows of the Empire. I forget the name of that character, actually. There you go. Yes.
Dash Rendar for
Dash Rendar. And they had those, like, the red... Yeah, there was so much in that was so fascinating to me, and I became very interested in Star Wars. And then... yeah, I mean, that's when, what's funny is when I go home for Thanksgiving back to Lexington, Massachusetts, I still have all my toys, and all of my Star Wars toys still exist in my basement. They're probably worth a lot, or maybe not that much, I don't know, but they're still there, and I may or may not, I still play with them, so that's, yeah, there you go.
Mr. Ross Sambridge. What was your Star Wars moment? When did you fall in love with the saga?
Well, to match what the guys are saying, I think when I was about 6 or 7 years old myself, and seeing the ship just go straight past your head and that sort of thing, you are sucked into that moment, and you have all the Darth Vader coming out with the stormtroopers, and you are literally there and then. You don't know exactly what the storyline is yet, but you're just enthralled to see what happens next, sort of thing, and then. Seeing Chewie on there for the first time, and I think, well, I've got to collect all the figures. So, likewise with Dane here, I've still got all the figures. I don't tend to play with them as much as maybe he does, but but I've got them all on the shelf and everything else, and I've got a couple of things that are still left in the packets, which is great. But no, I just loved it from the get go. So.
And Mr. Carey, what was your Star Wars moment? When did you fall in love with the saga?
Same. I feel like I'm repeating the same story, but it was. Actually, I saw Empire. I wasn't alive when the first one came out, but the second one I saw in the theater.
I don't feel old, thanks.
But the second one I saw in the theater, and same thing. I got there when the scroll was gone, and I didn't leave the theater until the lights came back on. So watched every single credit and all that. Was the last person in the theater, and it was ever since then. It was just it just blew my mind. And then I saw A New Hope later when it came out on VHS, and then I got like the first, which I still own today, the first box set when they released them. So the ones that you can't even get anymore, but the original that were not remastered. So I have that box set, and then I watched the first one. And I watched Return of the Jedi so many times that, back then with VHS, it kind of stretched the tape out, so it gets fuzzy at a certain point. But I've watched it so many times that I could close my eyes and see the movie without even turning it on.
That is so cool. Mr. Marti, how did your journey in the Star Wars universe begin? When did you get your first Star Wars role as the Pirate Vane?
Not too long ago. It was just prior, as they were developing season 3. Got an audition for this part. When you are presented an opportunity like this, you don't know what it is because it's all very secretive, and but it smelled a little bit like. It's like a gunslinger shootout as the audition. Like, what else on TV at the time was doing that? So I inquired a little bit, and it seemed like the right thing. So I took a chance, and at the end of the audition, slammed it to black, and then put in some Lucasfilm laser blast sound effects for the pew pew, and I credit that with actually getting the part. More than anything else.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and that was it. So then I got cast and started working with the makeup crew as they were developing the makeup instead of the mask.
And y'all heard it here. Put some pew pews in your audition.
It's that easy. If you
put
audition
pew-pews
for
anywhere.
Star Wars, you will get in. That's how easy it is. Just audition, and you'll be in. And you get to be in 2 shows, not just 1.
That got a little lucky there. That was cool.
And Dane, how did your Star Wars journey start for you, sir?
Oh man. Well,
Are you in Star Wars?
am I in Star Wars? It's funny. Well, Carey, I don't even know if you know this story, but Legacy Effects originally designed Chrysanthemum over me. Did you know that? And I did, because I was Master Chief for all the Halo commercials, and John Rosengrant, who was one of the owners of Legacy Effects, came in and said, we're submitting you for this bounty hunter Wookiee for Mandalorian Season 2. That's how long ago it was. And they didn't even know it was what the show actually was. And, they Scott Patton designed everything over me, and then at the time, apparently didn't have enough credits to my name, and Lucasfilm was scared, and they went with a more experienced actor in the 11th hour. But they still knew my name, and then I did some other things, this little independent movie called Prey, and...
I may have heard of that.
Yes, and then I did... another small one called Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with Legacy Effects. And then I got a phone call to be, in this other Star Wars show they're shooting it was called Grammar Rodeo at the time. That was the working title. Yeah, sure, Lucasfilm, absolutely. And so they brought me in, and there you go. I'm part of the show.
They always come up with such bizarre code names for their projects. Grammar Rodeo is a real interesting one.
Well, the everything was kind of Simpsons based. It's shot, right? I mean,
And they've mentioned this code.
yeah,
out
the
on- out
code
on the
code names
internet.
for a lot of the characters in the show were Simpsons characters instead of actually saying the names of their real characters. So, yeah.
That's really cool. And Mr. Ross, when did your journey in the galaxy far, far away start for you?
I joined an agency that were looking for very, very tall people to join up. So I joined up there, and my first sort of like audition was for Chewbacca.
Agency for tall people?
Wait,
Yeah.
and isn't it
In the
Warwick
UK,
Davis's agency?
No, that's not Willow. That is.
No, but Warwick Davis has an agency called Not Too Small or something like that in Britain, right?
It's called Oh So Small.
Oh, So Small.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh So Small,
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
almost
I'm-
joined that agency.
Well, yeah, no. I
But I didn't know.
no.
Either.
That's a real thing.
That is a real thing. I did join, but they do a character called Oh So Tall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously.
I
Yeah.
didn't get that. I wasn't tall enough.
So is that Lisa Osmond then?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, it's a real thing.
Oh, that's so funny.
What a small world. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I was on the too small side, but okay.
well, I mean, you can still join. You're 6'7", aren't you?
6'8".
6'8". Sorry, I was. Yeah. Sorry.
Only 6'8".
I mean, I was once your height. Don't worry. Anyway, so what was it? Yeah, so I joined up with this agency, and then they said that they were doing a thing called Space Bear, is what was the working title for it. And so I said, oh, okay, that sounds like it's no, sorry, I do apologize. No, that was for The Last Jedi. So yeah, so I went for audition for Chewbacca for Force Awakens, and then for about five, I was told about 500 very tall actors to do it. I got down to the final 5 with Jonas, and then they said that Jonas sort of was chosen because of the eyes and the body shape, but they sort of like kept me sort of on file and things, and then they say Space Bear came up, and it was for the character of for the other ones, and
Supreme Leader Snoke.
yeah, that be the one, yeah, and then so that's how it kind of started for like to be Chewie, yeah, sort of stuff, and then others.
And Carey, when did your journey in the galaxy far, far away start for you?
Now you tell your story. I didn't know that. No, I just finished another project, and I was walking in the hallway with a friend of mine that knew Robert Rodriguez, and they were on the phone talking, and they were talking on speakerphone, and Robert was like, "Yeah, man, we're kind of in a spot where we need." And he didn't say what it was. It's just, I just need someone. I need someone that's experienced that can, do all these things and da-da-da. And he was like naming off all this stuff. And then a friend of mine was like, Robert, you remember Carey? He was like, yeah. You mean like the Predator Carey? I said, he's like, yeah. You know, because I did Predators with Robert, who produced Predators. And it was funny because his answer was, yeah, but that was a long time ago. Is he still in shape? Like, is he fat? Like, what is it? So I guess he thought that I just kind of lost, you know. So that was his first reaction. He was like, yeah, I remember the stuff he did, but that was like 8-9 years ago. But is he still in shape? I don't know. And it was like, well, he's standing right here. I can prove it to you that he is. So my friend, and I wasn't really paying attention fully to their conversation because I was doing my thing. I was hearing things in and out. And so he said, Carey, can I take a picture? I was like, all right. So I just stood there and he took a picture and sent it to Robert. And Robert was like, oh, wow, okay. And then within 2 days, I got a phone call from one of the producers. And then from there I talked to Favreau, and then they still made me audition for it, just to make you feel better. I still had to, it wasn't mine right away.
Still hurts.
No, but again, I didn't know any of that. I thought I didn't know any of that information. Once I talked to Colin and I talked to John, I still had to audition, and I had to go in, and they were like, hey, you know, we have this character. Still didn't know what it was, and literally they said he's always pissed. He's ready to snap at any moment, and he just needs. Anyway, so they gave me the list of things, and I just kind of was in character, and I just did a whole thing, scared the shit out of them, and they were like, "Okay," it's like, I guess you got it. I said, "Okay," and every time after that. Because we still did tests. They didn't tell me. That's a lie. I didn't get it right then. They said, okay, now's the next step. So I did a fit test of the suit, and we did a camera test. And again, when I went in, I was in full character. I didn't break character. I went in, didn't talk to them, and I just did my thing. And I think after that time, when we were in person, and I had the suit on, and I did that, that's when they were like, okay, like this is it. And that was the first time that I did anything Star Wars, and since then I've done 3 characters, including Skeleton Crew.
What was it like to be the heavy to come in to toss a legendary character like Boba Fett around like a rag doll?
It was hard. It was extremely. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done, because, you know, I was talking to Lateef on the way here, who's one of the Mando doubles. He does all the fights for Mando. And we were driving. We were reminiscing about that, and the fight scene in Garza's place. You know, I walk in. We did a rehearsal. And after we got through, you know, the regular scenes, then we rehearsed the fight scenes. When we got to the fight stuff, they were like, okay, then you're gonna lift this guy up and then throw him across the room. They're gonna grab that guy and throw him over here, and then this guy's gonna jump on your back, and they were just rattling off all the things that I had to do, and I was looking up at the ceiling, and I was like, okay, so where are you gonna put the wires and cables? Like, oh, no wires, cables. You gotta do this. And I was like, all right. So just being an athlete, I literally, same thing, I just stayed in character and did pace and ran to get my adrenaline up, and then on action, I went crazy. And I don't think the stunt guys knew I was going to be that physical, and I think after I did the first take, you know, they came over to me because they're like, dude, that felt real. I said, it's kind of is real. I got to actually lift you guys, and the only way to do it is to just be pissed, you know. And that was the ride the whole entire time. It was like I had to, everything I did, everything, you know, all of it, you know, everything you saw, that was me, you know, lifting and throwing and punching. There was no cables, anything. So it was, I was in the gym constantly and just, you know, just doing whatever I could to get that adrenaline surge to, like, you know, just to get through it, because it was tough, but it was fun. It's Star Wars, you know. It was childhood dream, so I wouldn't have changed it.
That's so cool. Marty, going back to The Mandalorian Season 3, because we can't talk about the other thing yet. What was it like being such a notorious pirate for the legendary pirate Gorian Shard? And what do you think are some of the favorite pastimes of a character like the pirate Vane?
Well, clearly he doesn't spend a lot of time pondering concepts like loyalty or devotion to his cause. He's an opportunist, as any good pirate should have been. And as we've seen, he's just smart enough to get out of some scrapes. He's a pretty decent pilot. He held his own against Mando, but he's always chasing the credits. So my take on him is he's always an opportunist. He's gonna stab anyone in the back at any moment. Clearly, he has a bit of a drinking problem that might factor in. So, all those things kind of added up to his particular character, which is only interested in himself at any given point.
Well, I mean, and who turns a bar into a school anyway? Am I right?
Thank you.
That's
Thank
such a
you.
weird thing. I mean, build a school. If you want to build a school, leave
There's
the bar
plenty
alone.
of other places they could have
Yeah.
chosen, not our establishment.
Right, that was your special spot, and they just that was
glad you
not right for them to
understand.
take it away.
Glad you
I
understand.
totally get it. And what was perhaps one of your favorite memories from working on set of The Mandalorian season 3?
Well, the whole thing's a bit of a dream because, as anyone, I think you have a certain measure of kind of fan approach to this whole franchise because it's been going on for so long, and then suddenly you're involved and you're a part of it, and you get to walk out into this magical world that they've created to make it seem as real as possible when you're going through the technical motions of making the thing happen. But being out there and kind of taking it all in was probably the first thing. Working with Carl Weathers, he was the nicest guy, the most generous actor I've ever been with, and he wanted to just run lines all day. It was like we were at theater camp. He always wanted to work. He's always interested in making the scene better. So that was another amazing thing. But gotta say, when they rolled out Baby Yoda in his little pram, I mean, you've seen Vane. He's like, with the boots, I'm 6'6"-ish, nubbly headed, he looks tough. He's got his sword and everything. I just turned into a big dopey kid, and I wandered right over to him, and I was like, "Ooh, Jesus," baby talking him, and of course the animators love to practice. So anytime someone gets close, they'll activate him, and he comes to life. He seemed absolutely real. So I spent several minutes just nerding out to the baby, and he was giving me plenty to work with. Until I started remembering where I was and what we were doing, and that suddenly everyone was watching this happen over here. So then we got back to work.
Dane, we've pretty much exhausted everything we can talk about Star Wars for you at this point. So
It's going to be a great show. It's a great adventure. It's got some Goonies elements. It's got some E.T. It's really Spielbergian. It's just a fun, epic, squashbuckling adventure, and for all ages. And it's different from all the other shows. And you're all going to be very excited and delighted when it arrives. We don't know when it's going to arrive.
Soon, potentially next.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But it's a fun adventure. And there's some funny moments, and there's some epic moments, and there's some, I don't know, interesting moments, I suppose. Right?
Good
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Buzzwords, a lot of buzzwords. When you're in these things, they media train you. So when you speak to the public, you use buzzwords. And the thing is, I don't really need to use buzzwords because this show actually is all of those things that I just described.
If you've seen any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, you kind of understand the tone and the love that they have for 80s projects. Obviously
Because-
the John Hughes films that they kind of hinted at. These guys love Amblin films, and they understand what made them work. They're intelligent filmmakers, and they've kind of infused that into this Star Wars world that they got to play in. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
and I am very excited about that.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, how did you get the role of the feral predator for the film Prey, the latest installment of the Predator franchise?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yes.
Interesting.
Was existing in a 2021 Los Angeles, spring of 21, no, like February 21. And I got a Instagram DM from a guy who owned a creature shop that had worked on other Predator and Alien films to be the design reference person for a project he's working on in Canada. And I said, okay, I can't tell you anything about it, but will you do it? I'll give you $200. I said, sure. Is this character on all fours? Bipedal? Bipedal. Okay, good. And he goes, bring a balletic svelteness to this character.
A what?
A balletic svelteness. That's right, exactly my reaction as well. Straight to Google. And I kind of devised this feline-esque movement-ish, whatever. What was going to happen was the director, the producer, and the director of photography were going to come to this creature shop. They were going to open the garage door. They couldn't come in because of COVID. And I was going to wear whatever their design was for this pitch and do my thing. And sure enough, I did. I walked in to this creature shop, and there's the Predator costume from the last movie lying on the table with a 3D printed head of their take on what the head was going to look like. And the dreads were made of ropes, and I looked through, they literally took a screwdriver and drilled 2 holes through the mouth, and that's all I had to see. And I put this thing on, and it was this old, crusty costume from 2018. This is 2021 at the time. And sure enough, Dan was there, and everyone was there, and I was running through this creature shop, sliding like I was in risky business. I was jumping up on tables, acting like a panther, doing my own thing. We ran outside, which was really special for me because these 2 creature shop owners worked for Stan Winston back in the day, and that was like, one of the guys, his name is Alec, he was like, this is so reminiscent of the garbage bag test from Aliens when they did the Queen alien and they dressed it up in foam and garbage bags, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So when we ended the demo, the director and producer were like, how tall are you? And I was like, oh, and I'm thinking, Predator. I was like, oh, I'm 6'9". I'm 6'8". And they're like, oh, 6'9", that's exactly what we're looking for. And I essentially was like, please, 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 can I be your Predator? I'll give you blood. I'll do whatever it takes. And they're like, yeah, sure, we don't know. And still another situation where like I didn't really have a lot of credits to my name at the time. And they ended up making me the stunt double for the Predator because they were shooting it in Canada. And I went to mime school. I studied parkour, I studied martial arts. I strengthened my neck due to the design of this Predator around, and cutting a lot of stuff out. But I eventually replaced the actor they hired to play the Predator after the second day because, you can do the math on that. But I did all the acting, stunts, and motion capture for this creature for 100 days of shooting. And yeah, we went through 6 suits and 4 heads for this character. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that 6 different suit designs or just 6 different of the same suit?
Well,
for
when
the
they stopped
production?
using the other guy, I absorbed his 3 suits and his 2 heads, and then each suit was used for a different thing. So we had a mud pit suit, we had a burnt glade suit, we had a stunt suit, we had a wire suit, then we had like a photo shoot suit. By the end of it, we destroyed 4 of them, and we had a stunt suit and like a trophy suit left. And we had a very strange, intricate numbering system for like combining heads and suits. Because the animatronic head had 4 puppeteers just doing the face. There were 29 servos inside the head. Yeah, and I shot the whole thing essentially blind because I had to look at my feet for the Predator to look forward because my head was in the neck. I think that answers your question. Instagram.
That's very cool. And as a Predator, if you could hunt anything on Earth, what would it be?
On Earth?
Or anywhere, really.
I don't know, both presidential candidates. I don't know. You want to know a really fun fact? We had Yautja, or at least this one was, is a vegetarian. I don't know if anyone knew that.
I did not know that.
We were going to shoot a scene where he had a yam. He would use his mandibles to hold a yam while his mouth ate this thing. And the reason why we were going to establish that Yautja are vegetarians is because they purely hunt for sport. They don't eat meat.
Interesting.
That doesn't answer your question at all. I don't know who I would hunt. We'll go with both presidential candidates at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's not canon. I don't know if they are vegetarian. It was just an idea we had. Don't quote me on that because I'll get in big trouble with 20th century.
And Carey, how did you become the tracker predator in the film Predators?
Similar story, I guess. I've been a special makeup effects artist for many years in my career, and the shop that I was working for, KME Effects Group, got Predators, and they brought on Derek Mears, who played the classic Predator, and then Brian Steele, who played the Berserker Predator, and quite frankly, every time those guys came to the shop, they had to get paid. So while we were building it, they were like, "Hey, Carey, you're this right size and shape. Can we, for fabrication, can we just put this on you so we can?" Basically, I was the pin cushion. So while they were building the suit, I was working on another project at the time, and they were like, "Come over here. We have to cut this and tuck this and sew this," and I was basically the prep model for when Brian and Derek would come into the shop and do the real fittings. And then after those guys got set up, they were trying to find doubles and stunt doubles for the two of them, and they couldn't find anyone that was the same shape, size, height, and physical, and had a physicality to be able to do it. And wearing suits is a unique thing. I mean, not everybody can do it. I've seen people put suits on and throw up, pass out, or just basically quit, or all of it. I've seen it all. So anyway, so at the time they didn't have anyone that could do it, and they did get someone, and then same thing, he didn't have the right attitude and whatever, so that fell through. And so finally they looked at me, and I was just so happened to be there the day they were doing a test fitting. They looked at me and said, "Carey, you've had this on, you want to do it?" And I said, "Sure," not really knowing fully what I was going to get into, but since I said yes, I had to do it, no matter how bad it was. And it worked out. I ended up, first I started off just doing stunt work for Brian, and then they ended up casting me as not only the tracker predator but also the falconer, which I did a lot of scenes for that, and then I did all the stunts for the Berserker. So like all the fight scenes, the firework, and all that stuff, that was me for that. So yeah, I mean, it was same thing, dream come true, huge Predator fan, and then just to do it was just a full circle, And I had fun. I mean, we shot in Hawaii, we shot in Austin, Texas.
I was there. When I was young, my uncle at the time was one of the set construction workers for that film.
Okay.
So I actually got taken on the set of that before you guys got to go on the set of that. I saw the big angle pillar that y'all had, the classic Predator chained up to.
The totem. Yeah.
And it was really cool. My mom might have the pictures buried in her file somewhere.
So you're saying you're a predator?
Junior
Okay.
Predator, yeah. And if you could hunt anything on Earth as a predator, or anywhere else really, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't have a cool answer as he does, but I don't know. That stumps me. I don't know. I try to do the best that I can and live my life with no malice. So I don't really have anyone that I would hunt.
It doesn't have to be anyone in particular, but that's okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, so it would just be chickens, I just hunt chickens.
Fair enough.
You got to go to Hawaii? That's not fair.
So I went to Hawaii, but I'll tell you this, though, and it's funny. It's the one misconception I think most people have about actors. Not all the time, but most of the time when you can go to the most elaborate locations. Sometimes you don't get to actually have fun, and that was the case. So I was there for 2.5 weeks. I had one day off. Shot every other day. It was the middle of summer. It was 90% humidity. I lost like 10, 15 pounds of just water. It was rough. It was absolutely rough. We were shooting in in this. It wasn't in. So we were in Hilo, which is on the Big Island, which is the other side, which there's nothing there.
Right.
So it wasn't like I got to see a ton. And yeah, it was working 24/7. And I had one day off, and I think I did like one little excursion, and the rest of the time I just had to just recover.
Yeah, we were in Calgary for 100 days, and yeah, it started because it was hot in the summertime, and then we were getting into September shooting nights. Like the mud pit was the last week; it was getting below freezing,
Wow.
and I'd come out of you come out of the suit, and all the steam,
Comes
steam's
out, yeah.
coming out, and they have like the heat lamps. And if you get too close to the heat lamp, it starts to get a little mushy and melt. And then all your sweat, because when you're in a foam latex suit, foam latex is essentially a sponge. So when you're wearing these suits and you're sweating on the inside, what's happening is your sweat's not going anywhere. It's going into the suit. So the suit just gets heavier and heavier and heavier as the day wears on. You might start off at 60 pounds, a 60-pound suit. You'll finish the day at a 75-pound suit because you're drinking water, and that water, if you're not, flapping it, it's going into your suit, and your suit's just getting heavier and soggier as the day wears on. And shooting in cold weather is good and bad because it's bad because when you take were you made up into the head of your Predator? Could you take the head off?
Yeah, just the front would come off in your face.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you didn't have the full mechanical thing on. We cheated it with the.
Because when it's cold, then it gets wet and cold, and then you have to put it back on, and it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, we shot. So after we left Hawaii, we shot in Austin, actually into winter, which it gets pretty cold there too. So when it got to that point, Brian and I was the only one that did not take my suit off for that reason.
Yeah.
I kept it on, even in between breaks.
And lunch. Yeah.
Lunch, I left it on. They would come out of theirs. It's like I hate putting on a cold wet suit. I hated it. So I left it on. So once I got on in the morning, we shot like 18-hour day. I would wear it for 18 hours because I would rather do that than to take it off than have to squeeze back into this cold, wet thing.
You have to understand, these suits are handmade custom suits, right? They are sculpted over a version of our bodies, what's called a body cast. So these things are fit to our pores. When it's dry, you typically use powder to help you slide into these suits. When these suits are cold and wet, it's very hard to get back into these suits. Maybe a wet wetsuit or 3 wet wetsuits squished into each other. I would say it's very uncomfortable, and you really have to the antifungal creams and all of that because warmth and wet things can grow. It gets a little bit yucky after day 80, but but it really takes a special person to, then if God forbid you have animatronics and it malfunctions, and then you can have fires inside the helmets and stuff and all different things. But I burnt my neck during the trapper camp scene because there's a fire in one of my heads, and that was a whole thing.
Ross, circling back to you for a moment, because it's been a moment since I've asked you a question. When you were portraying Supreme Leader Snoke in The Last Jedi, did you and Andy interact a lot? Was there any passing in between you two very often, or did you have very different schedules?
No, very much. We very much worked together because Snoke in the Force Awakens is a hologram, so they didn't know how he was going to interact with Adam and Daisy. So Andy and I had free reign of how Snoke was going to move. So so Ryan said, just work it out between you two if you don't really so we literally matched each other's movements. So he would copy my movements, I would copy his movements, sort of thing, and so it's all merged both our movements to get together. And in a way, they wanted someone even taller than Adam Driver, and I think he's about 6'4". So they wanted someone to loom over him, and obviously Andy only being 5'9". So they wanted the actual suit in a way to become a character in themselves. So the way that Snoke would walk down to the slope and like just have that like creepy sort of eerie movement, they said that I was perfect for, which is great, you know, creepy, yay, I can do that. So, you know, the way it just sways would move differently from the taller person than the shorter person. So Andy would sort of like move in a swaying movement to sort of like just to copy that. And also when Andy would do the Snoke speaking, I would say exactly the same as he did, and where he was emphasizing certain words, like Vader, for instance, then I would also do the same thing, and my body would then change in that emphasis as well. And so yeah, Ryan really liked the idea of that we copied each other, and so we do share the character. So, and it was always interacting between the two.
That's so cool. So we've talked about some of the challenges of getting into certain suits and playing some of these characters that involve heavy costume and makeup. Marti, what would you say was the most difficult costume to get into, costume makeup wise, and what would you say was the longest you had to sit in makeup to bring a character to life? Because you've also played lots of other costume makeup characters.
Well, I would say that one of the more difficult ones, I don't know if you've seen the TV show Evil. It's a Paramount Plus show. You can find it on Netflix now. And the first creature that we meet in the pilot is this dream demon named George. And I'm a pretty tall, lanky guy. It's a pretty tall, lanky character. So the suit is rather thin. And as these guys can attest, once you make a foam suit in the drying process, the thing has a tendency to shrink. So whatever you're using to get into it, you're wearing something that is built on you but has become a little smaller than you. So there becomes a circulation issue sometimes. You can get tingly feet just by sitting and doing nothing. So in that sense, George was probably one of the more difficult because you had to be very conscious of where you moved so you didn't cut off the circulation to yourself. But one of the more difficult ones was a 23-piece silicone appliance character for Sleepy Hollow. It was the Moloch character, this inky black devilish character. And we had slabs of silicone on the legs and the arms and the chest and the head. And he was all airbrushed black and shiny, and it was a 6-hour makeup ahead of shooting a full day, and we did him 2 or 3 times, I think.
Which is for sale. The photo is for sale on his table. So if you want to get that autographed, Marti will be more than happy to autograph that photo for you.
Hang on, I got your $20 right here. Thanks, buddy.
And Dane, what would you say was the most difficult character to bring to life, sitting in makeup, and what was the longest?
The longest was American Horror Stories for sure. That was about a 4.5-hour makeup. It was only a few days. Coincidentally enough, here I was acting across Billy Lord, whose mother is well known.
Carrie Fisher.
Sure. And we had some simulated intimate scenes, so to speak, as this red demon that I was. It was a fertility demon. You kind of have to watch the episode. They cut a lot of stuff out, but her and I get intimate. It's very funny. But I would say the most difficult was probably Guardians of the Galaxy, because we were in Atlanta in the summertime, and it was really hot, and we were out on the streets, and there were, like, Marvel, you can't rent out a street. Like, you can't close a street. So there were just people walking by, and there was just a lot of traffic, and we were standing in the sun, and I had this, however big it was a makeup and a big heavy suit, and it was just a lot to manage. I had 2 other arms, and 2 of the owners of Legacy Effects were puppeteering those arms. It was this drug dealer guy. It was, it was so fast in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 that if you sneezed, you would miss this thing. And they put so much time and money into this, and it was like, boom, done. And but it was a lot of fun. But it was very hot and sweaty.
And you, Ross? What's the longest you would say you've sat in makeup, and what was the most difficult suit to put on?
Well, I've got a film coming out next month for Netflix, and so I play like a really horrible, disgusting-looking alien thing, and I spent just over 7 hours in makeup, and they just said they said basically you're going to have your lunch through a straw sort of thing. So I was like, well, I live in East London. I've heard that before. So so yeah, no, I just sat there, and they just literally had I had two women like paint all this venal stuff all over my body, and then they said, look, you should have your lunch now, sort of thing, because you're going to put this head on you, and then you're going to encase you in there and have to glue you all in, sort of thing, and put all the fake like rib cages and stuff on there, and then you put all that on, and then you've got so you've been in that chair since about 7, 8 in the morning, and then you sort of go, well, I've just got to make sure that I can move in this now. So you've got you completely you change how you move, and this alien is supposed to be all like inquisitive, but also rather quite creepy and nasty, and sort of seething at sort of like this particular thing. I won't go into too much because I want you to enjoy the program. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's called Witness Alien, which comes, and they said it was coming out next month. But it's it's quite dark, but it's also cool, like retro 80s as well. So it's all like that sort of thing. But so it was just actually like moving your neck in a certain subtle, creepy sort of way, and also like do that, like move your hands and like scrape away and things like that. So it was quite difficult to get at that, but because of the weight of the head as well is pushing down on your neck, which I'm sure, like, so you
look at even your hand is creepy. That's impressive. My God, look at that hand. It's
it's Snoke's hand.
That is a hand. My God, that's It's like, you ever seen Javier Botet or whatever his name is, the Spanish guy who's
Javier
my
Bardem.
God, with his hyperflex. Sorry, this is creature talk, but that guy is unbelievable. It's very that's a good hand you got there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I grew them myself. It's great.
Who did your makeup, by the way?
Well, on that alien, it was a lady called Freddie, but it's all shot over in West Acton in North London. Okay. At the Black Hall Studios. It's a massive sort of they mainly do music videos there, but it was like literally 2 weeks after the strike ended, and they said, right, we need you on this, and I was like, oh, brilliant, okay, I can work, great. Perfect. And so it's very it was very impressive to see all of it come together. Yeah. But it's just, you just have to sort of like, you are that character for however long you're in the costume for, and I think I scared a few people before we even started filming. So
put your hand up to mine. I just want to see the other hand.
This hand.
Yeah, let's see.
But you've got like.
Oh yeah, you got me. Oh man, you got some digits there, buddy.
Well, I mean, mine are like a lot long and thin and sort of like.
That's what they want, though.
Skeletal.
They want long and thin. Well, sorry.
I know that's fine.
Don't
I mean,
be
if
sorry.
it gives me work, right?
Hand talk,
It's
great.
It comes in handy.
Yeah.
And Carey, what would you say was the most difficult creature to bring to life, and the longest you probably sat in makeup for?
I don't know. I'm gonna give a boring answer and say like I don't really. I don't know. I don't carry the difficulty with me. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there were moments when I was doing it, I probably was like, oh my God, but I don't know. I don't categorize them in that way. Each one that I've done, I'm just happy to do it and happy to work and luckily all the ones that I've done has been, characters that I've been fans of since I was a kid, like all the IP that I've been able to be a part of. So I don't have one that I would consider, the worst. I mean, I would say that I have not sat in a makeup chair for longer than maybe 3 hours. So all these guys have me beat, honestly, which is difficult. I mean, honestly, it may not seem just to be sitting in a chair for 8 hours is hard, but it is. I mean, to sit still, because the more you move and fidget, then the people that are actually trying to get their work done, it affects them, and so on and so forth. So to sit there and kind of go into a zone to allow all that transformation to happen is extremely difficult. And that's before you even start your day. That's before you even get out there and have to do all the things you got to do film-wise. But yeah, I think the longest that I've been in was maybe I did this TV series called Teen Wolf, and I played the alpha werewolf. So, and I think that makeup was like maybe 2.5 hours, maybe two and a half, 3 hours.
Fun fact: Carey did my makeup when I was on Walking Dead.
That's right. That was the that was for the webisodes, right?
That was when they were doing reshoots in Calabasas.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That was my first jobs, and we drove to. That's right, because that was right when Kobe died. And we went by the crash site.
That's right.
And Carey did my makeup for like some reshoots for The Walking Dead. I met Greg at IMATS, and he's like, "Oh, come on down. You'll be like the tallest walker ever."
Which was true.
I'll take it. But
yeah. I mean, not the original Walking Dead show has since went off the air, but there's been massive amounts of spinoffs. So right now, still in production, there's Walking Dead. We just wrapped, actually, Walking Dead Dead City Season 2. We're about to start shooting Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3. And then there's other ones that they're starting.
If they need another tall, very walker, I'm available.
no.
Listen, Daryl Dixon season 3 is shooting in Madrid. So
No, you are at the tall agency. You stay there, okay? They are only coming from the short agency.
I still think it's hilarious that exists. I thought you were
Crazy.
messing with me. I swear to God. That's why I had to double take and ask you, like, is that a joke?
I think the shortest member of the tall agency is about 6 foot for a lady.
Wait, that's the shortest for the late. So what about what are the height restraints for men? Like, what is the low end? The top end you could be 10 foot 12, but I mean the low end.
The tallest. I can turn the microphone. That's right. The tallest member of this so tall membership group is he's 7'7", and he's Britain's tallest man. The shortest man is he's 6'3".
So what happened?
We can do it.
Yeah,
Let's go.
We're in.
All right.
What up?
Get in touch.
Maybe it's geographical.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no,
maybe
they-
because
Be in the UK.
No, they do it international. They do international.
I have a European passport. This
never
is
even heard of
something
I
happened.
really like going. I just like
Something
traveling
went
to
afoul.
London. I could go.
Maybe Warwick Davis really liked me or something. I don't know what, but that's crazy.
We're out of here. We're going to London.
Yeah, we're going to London. That's
I'll sort you out a card. It's fine.
yeah, but what
We're gonna tell him you said it's okay.
I want my title as the tallest walker in Walking Dead history. You can be the tallest. I don't know what.
I just want to be known as the shortest guy who gets into your club.
Well, I mean, literally, we are the high society. It's great.
We're people say we're condescending because we talk down to people, but
I
got it.
you know who's a friend of mine is a guy named Spencer Wilding.
Oh yeah, we know Spencer.
What a crazy guy! He's amazing. I think he was Vader in
Rogue One.
Rogue One, yes. God, every time I'm with this guy, he's in Los Angeles. He wants to fight me, but like he was a pro
kickboxer.
Oh my God, I like sparred with this guy one day. He's about the same height as me, but he's like 25 pounds heavier. And man, I couldn't keep up with this dude. He was so strong, punching my hands and put me through a crazy workout. We're right in Venice Beach. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about at all, but
Star Wars Predators.
the
Wookiees.
Vader versus a Predator. That would be the Predator gets just like slashed right in half immediately. Yeah. Come on in, guys. Come on in. We're just starting. Please.
Yeah.
I would love to see.
That was a long bathroom break I saw.
Wookiee
I
versus
saw you guys
Predator
leave at
fight.
the beginning.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us this weekend.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining our panel here where we talked Skeleton Crew,
Thank you, guys.
Predators, and Wookiees. We have another panel coming in here in a minute. It's a
Yes, buddy. Yes.
It's a original trilogy reunion panel featuring some really awesome guests from the original trilogy with Mr. Kevin Lau here in a moment. And we also have a quick giveaway to do. So, young man, come on up.
It's a spot at the Tall Agency.
That's right. Yeah. Here you go. Here's an awesome prize. Thank you for attending this panel, brought to you by our good friends, BigBadToyStore.com.
Wait.
Yes, sir.
I thought, well, you say there's a giveaway. I thought, like, someone had to do something, like, let's make a deal. Like, who has...
Well, you got up like you knew you were already getting it.
I was like, hello.
What is it?
I thought you were saying, anyone that could show me
A
coin
Death
in their
Trooper.
pocket.
Wait, well, I didn't get entered. Why am I getting overpassed on everything here? I want the Death Trooper. What's going on here?
All right, give him
No, it's yours. It's yours.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Guys, please take the time to come visit these gentlemen in the signer room. They'll be here until 8 p.m., and they are all simply wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And may the force be with all of you, you rebel scum.